First 30 days are on us. And then it's as little as $7.95 per month to sell up to 50 items. Join the revolution in online selling with buysellmakeoffer.com.
Imagine that you're among the 4 out of 5 people who received help paying for quality health coverage through Covered California at the lowest possible cost. Imagine seeing a doctor for everyday aches and pains, unexpected emergencies, and preventative care. Imagine receiving help finding a health plan that's absolutely right for you and your family. Imagine not having to imagine.
Covered California. It's more than just health care. It's life care. Visit CoveredCA.com to find free, local, in-person help or enroll online by December 15th to have coverage by January 1st.
Do you like cars, racing, adventure and speed, motorsports of any kind? If it has speed, high performance, or burns octane, there's a brand new show for you. Do you have 1030 weight in your blood, or are you running on 104 performance octane? Then gear up for a brand new show on Kcaa called Kcaa Racing. Tune in Saturdays at 4 p.m. with host Joe Britt for news, interviews, and all kinds of stuff you can use about racing and the automotive world. Whether it's learning how to put spark plugs in or spark up your supercharger, Joe's got the answer for you.
Ready, buddy? Ready. All right, Dan. Get it up.
Kcaa Racing. Find out how Joe built the Stallion GT1 exotic sports car, or hear the area's best experts on automotive questions. It's Kcaa Racing, right here, where we put you in the driver's seat and it doesn't stop till you cross the finish line. Saturdays at 4 p.m. right here on Kcaa. It's Kcaa Racing.
Well, see you later. Come on, guys, let's go.
It gets real, it's live, it's really live, local and in motion. Every day on Kcaa, the Inland Empire's only live local motion talk. Kcaa 1050 AM and KCAAradio.com.
This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen, emanating from the city of San Bernardino, California, the center of the universe. You know, a lot of people want to put a little pain on San Bernardino, and yeah, we've hurt a little bit. But you know, the beauty about hurting is it just lets you know how good it feels when you're not hurting. And we're not hurting. We've been hurt, but we're not hurting. We're still the center of the universe. We're still the gateway to Southern California. We're still one of the most beautiful places on the planet. And if you've had an opportunity to open your doors from the Inland Empire and look outside today, you'll agree this is one of those days that makes the world want to be in the Inland Empire. And if you're here, celebrate it, enjoy it, make yourself happy, and if you can, make someone else happy too. I'm Wallace Allen, and I have just been informed that my good friend Mr. Jamal Lilly's on the line. And, you know, before we get started too far, I want to remind you that Empire Talks Back is brought to you by Covered California, not just health care, but life care. Brought to you by West Side Story newspaper, the soul of the empire, and the Improve Association, where referrals are real. We have a little bad news. If the gentlemen weren't going to heaven, it would be real bad news. But our friend Mr. Bill Ratibu J. Cox decided that it was time to go home, and he left this world last week, and we'll be celebrating and memorializing him this coming Thursday at New Hope Missionary Baptist Church at 10 o'clock. That means you'll probably want to get there about 8:30 so that you'll get a seat. The Inland Empire loved Bill J. Cox. Bill J. Cox loved the Inland Empire. And there will be many people there to demonstrate that love and appreciation as we memorialize a young man who was very much an activist, very much an agitator, very much a soother, a friend of mine, and I'm very blessed to have ever been able to be in Mr. J. Cox's presence. And once again, Thursday at New Hope Missionary Baptist Church in the city of San Bernardino, 10 o'clock in the morning, we will begin to continue expressing our love for Mr. Bill Ratibu J. Cox. Bill, we appreciate you very much, and if you want to call in from heaven today, you've already done so because you're on my mind. Don't scare the hell out of us by actually calling in. Okay. All right. Ratibu J. Cox, my buddy. Listen, we've got another person whose name is in the news. Mr. Donald Trump has said that Jamal, he said he's going to get your vote. He said he wants 100% of the African American vote. Now, I'm a person that works on conditions, and I love contracts and agreements, and I love to make a deal. My question is, what kind of deal would you need to cut with Donald Trump in order to feel comfortable about voting for him? Now, I'm not making that a joke. I'm trying to find out, does anyone have a plan that they think utilizing Mr. Trump's great resources, tremendous ego, and ability to make a deal, to put together a plan that you think others might benefit by enough that you could stump for Trump? That's the question. That's one of our questions of the day. We, of course, will, discuss a few other things. One, that San Bernardino is not terrorized by a little repeat terrorism. We've lost some people. We do that all the time. Certainly, whenever it occurs to you and your family and friends, it's a deep cut, and we've been cut deeply. But we've got much soul. We've got much blood to deliver. We've got much attitude that we're willing to put on the line to maintain our positions here in San Bernardino. We're not going to be pushed out by terrorists, whether those terrorists are economic terrorists, whether they're bullet-throwing terrorists, whether they're simply people who want to bully us around. We're not going to accept a bullying. We're not taking a little butt-whipping lightly, and we are going to fight to maintain our position in this wonderful, wonderful location called San Bernardino. So, Mr. Lilly.
Yes, sir.
You've had a chance, a couple of seconds, to think about the offer. You've heard Mr. Trump say that he wanted 100% of the African-American vote. When you heard him say that, what was your first impression? What was your initial reaction?
Well, the first thing that I thought about was, at least he's not referring to us as the blacks, which is what he's been doing almost the entire time. At least we've now stepped up to be African Americans.
Well, you know what? I said African Americans. When you come to think about it, he did say he was going to get 100% of the black vote. Hey, I don't want to get super caught up in the what do you call me, as long as it's for dinner kind of stuff, but...
Well, right. What I was really saying there is he does refer to us with these offhand type of euphemistic statements and reference terms, and, all of a sudden, he's focusing. And the thing I thought about is the reason why he would want to do such a thing is because the Republicans know that they can't win the White House, or any political party can't win the White House, without getting at least a significant portion of what we call the progressive vote or the liberal vote or whatever it is.
Okay.
And the way that the electoral process works and all these things, the bottom line is what you find out, first of all, is that the liberal or the progressive or left-leaning areas of the country happen to coincide with the blackest cities and the blackest districts and the blackest areas. And a lot of those cities are major prizes in the political game. A lot of those districts are major prizes.
And can
in
carry
order
it.
for you to win the state, you have to win those districts in those major cities.
Mm-hmm.
Places like Atlanta, Detroit, places surprisingly in Connecticut and, certain districts in Ohio.
Right.
These key states, you've got to win these districts. So he's reaching out from that standpoint, and it's a good strategic piece of rhetoric But the bottom line, man, let's be real. We had the folks on, I guess, those two ladies, I guess it's been, 2 or 3 months ago?
The stump for Trump queens, yes. And
yeah, you remember them.
Absolutely.
And the absurdity, and I don't want to disrespect the people themselves, but the way that they were promoting the cause that they were trying to champion, and the things they were saying as the reasons why they should, someone black should vote for Donald Trump. It all boiled down to, throw the bums out type of rhetoric.
Right.
Let's get something new in there. And then the rest of it was just celebrity worship.
Well, and plus,
this personality.
This is how mad I am.
What I thought, just to answer your question, what I thought is that if this is what we're talking about and the black electorate is reflective of that level of ignorance, he's got a chance, unfortunately, to sway us to the hero worship and the celebrity worship that a lot of us tend to gravitate toward, and do something new, something different, and all that kind of thing. He could possibly pull it off just from that standpoint, because a lot of our electorate, black, white, anything else, is caught up in that type of dynamic where they just want to throw the bums out and, hey, this is a name I know and it can't be worse than what we already have. And with the type of money and the type of impressions that he could put on people repeatedly with the ads and all the media hype and all of that, he could sway minds in a year's time.
Very
to do
good.
Something like that.
Well,
stranger things have happened. We had Arnold Schwarzenegger as the California governor.
What'd you call me? Oh, okay. All right. I think it's time for a short break. My ears are not working too well. We're going to take a real short break. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. I'm speaking with Jamal Lilly, our great intellectual elevator. I've asked him a question, and he's dodged it, the answer, through the first segment, which is, what would it take for you?
No, you asked me what did I think.
Okay. I didn't get to that part yet. Okay. All right. So we come back. We're going to ask Mr. Lilly, what would it take for him to vote for Trump? What would Trump have to agree to do to become the subject of Mr. Lilly's endorsement for president, or mine, or yours? Because once he makes up his mind, he's going to have to convince the rest of us too. Because our videographer, Mr. Tafase, has a look on his face that looks like he's standing in the sewer, and there's a smell that he just can't understand. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen, and please don't leave. Come back. Let's find out what it takes for you to be able to comfortably stump for Trump.
Imagine that you're among the 4 out of 5 people who received help paying for quality health coverage through Cover California at the lowest possible cost. Imagine seeing a doctor for everyday aches and pains, unexpected emergencies, and preventative care. Imagine receiving help finding a health plan that's absolutely right for you and your family. Imagine not having to imagine.
Covered California. It's more than just health care. It's life care. Visit CoveredCA.com to find free, local, in-person help or enroll online by December 15th to have coverage by January 1st.
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call West Side Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
KCAA, where every day is a great day. KCAA, Loma Linda.
Oh, Benny and the Jets. That reminds me of Lakeside. I don't know why Benny and the Jets reminds me of Lakeside, but I don't know where you're spending your New Year's Eve, but if you haven't made up your mind, There's going to be a great program in the city of San Bernardino at 1073 North Mount Vernon. There will be a very special birthday party for Miss Lynn Paul, and she has pulled together the original Lakeside band to come and play for her birthday and play for your New Year's Eve. And you can participate in that. All you got to do is give Miss Lynn a call. I know her number is 909-258-0254. That's 909-258-0254. Call, make your reservation for your New Year's Eve party in the city of San Bernardino. Band Lakeside. You'll enjoy that. And speaking of music, that is not a record playing under my voice or above my voice or next to my voice. That is the mood master, Mr. Anthony Garcia. And he is, I think, the greatest bass player on the planet. And you may need some music or a musician to help celebrate your holiday season. You want to give us a little holiday music in there, Mr. Garcia? Man, isn't that wonderful? That's better than having.
He didn't miss a beat.
He didn't miss a beat. It's like, and you don't have to have me there. I mean, I just want you to know, if you invite Mr. Garcia to come and play, you will be able to get him to instantly change music tones and voices and tunes just as quickly as I did. Let's go to jazz. See, just like that. Anthony Garcia, the Mood Master. Now, put us in the mood, Mr. Mood Master, to hear the great explanation coming from our friend Mr. Jamal Lilly regarding the potential of voting for and stumping for Mr. Donald Trump. What would it take?
First of all, Wallace,
yes.
You know what, man? I want to make sure I say this. Shout and well wishes and wishes for speedy recovery to our brother, Mr. Leonard Evans.
Absolutely.
I miss him. And I wish that he was on the call for this particular topic. I really wish.
Yes, he called. He called this morning to let me know that they switched his medication yesterday, and that he didn't quite feel right for talking on the phone today. He probably would have taken over the whole show, and he thought maybe he should just kind of slow down and back off for a minute. But you're right. We would love to have his. Matter of fact, we probably need to continue this conversation into next week. But at this point, we no longer want to give you any reason to delay in your presentation here.
This is what I think. Okay, first of all, Donald Trump has moved from doing real estate and all of that as his primary means of making money to basically branding his name or putting his name on products and then selling the Trump image on by attachment to everyone's products.
Very smart,
he wants to endorse and whatnot. So what I say is this: he's got the power to do something to affect how these products are produced, where they're produced,
yes,
where they're sold, and the price they're sold at. The bottom line is he could mimic a successful business model that we're starting to see, but there's a company called American Giant. They're not the only ones, but they're a good example. In the internet age, you don't need retail outlet stores and all the high overhead. You just go and sell your stuff on the internet and pass the savings along to your customers. Produce your stuff in the United States like American Giant does. Source your fabrics and your fiber and your dye and all of these things from American sources to make apparel in this case, because Trump definitely puts his name on apparel lines. American Giant is an apparel line. Source everything in the United States. Use American workers. Use American distribution. Don't waste your money on retail outlets. Sell online. That's how young folks are buying, and everybody's buying more and more every year anyway.
Right.
Employ people here with your name attached to the products that you're already endorsing, or get another supplier or another brand or another type of product that you can produce here. The bottom line is he could do that tomorrow before he's elected.
Before the election.
And show the people of America that he's serious about bringing American jobs back home.
Before the election.
Do you think the people would not buy even more then? Of course they would.
Sound like a method to get people to stump for Trump. You know, Mr. Lilly, when I asked that question to myself, the ultimate goal was to say, well, whatever answer one would provide to Trump, whatever solution or whatever negotiation you would put before Trump would actually have to be a good business plan, regardless of whether it was presented to Trump or not. It would represent a plan of action that America could benefit from. And that's exactly what you've described. Something that creates an emphasis on American workers, on the desires of American consumers, and to create work here in America to answer those demands. And whether Trump does it, or whether Clinton does it, or whether Jamal Lilly does it, or whether Mitchell Young puts the team together, I think that's the direction we've got to go. And the hard part about it is, Mr. Lilly, I've asked at least 25 people personally, what is it that Mr. Trump could do? What is it that you could come up with to negotiate with Trump that would, if he agreed to do it, would make you be willing to stump for Trump? And Mr. Lilly, I'm as usual impressed with you, because you're the first person who has not just said, oh, ain't nothing in the world. No. I ain't voting for Trump. I don't know how to say. Wait a minute. If Trump sat you down and wrote you a check for $5 million, I know you would sell me out. And if you didn't, I'd be upset, because I don't know anybody else with $5 million that I could sit down and split up and, maybe go do something with. And he's just buying your vote. So we have to be realistic about, I think, the imagery of who we're talking about and the actuals of what they're talking about, and more importantly, what is it that we want? What is it that would be beneficial enough to me that it would create no haters? Because they would realize that if that happened for me, I would be in a better position to make things happen for them. And that seems to be what we're not able to look at as a group of folk, group of people. America should be able to look at the diminished returns from the African American and as a result of the experience that we have in America, to look at what could it be like were we simply welcomed into society, where if our talents were welcomely taken by society, as opposed to, well, okay, come on. Okay, you can do this. Okay, you're great at sports. Okay, you're great. Listen, engineering, architecture, medicine. There's not been a field that African Americans have been exposed to, allowed to participate in, encouraged to participate in, that we haven't made great contributions, not just for ourselves, but for the planet. And folks, as I say all of that, I want you to look at the people that are getting stacked up at the borders because of wars, because of the fact they can't go home, because somebody is blowing their house up, setting it on fire, trying to make them stump for a social position that they don't want. ISIS and regime-changing desires to change regimes has upset people all across the planet, and we are now misusing the talents that they have and represent, much the way we've not taken advantage of African Americans' talents here in America. The way we haven't taken advantage of each other, the kindnesses that we can represent to each other. We have to wait until something like the massacre in San Bernardino last week to get people who walk next to each other, who live next door to each other, who ride on the bus next to each other, who ride in the lanes on the freeway next to each other, to want to be sure that we are treating each other comfortably now, because we realize that treating people like crap can make them be upset enough to do some really stupid stuff. So folks, we don't need to wait in order to be kind. We shouldn't wait for problems to assert themselves before we come up with good solutions for getting along. The city of San Bernardino is going to be a great example for the world because we are going to get better here. People throughout the Inland Empire are going to be making contributions because now we can see that what people have been talking about as, a bad place to be, folks are going to come together. America's going to come together, and we're going to make better use of black folk. We're going to make better use of everybody who's got a contribution to make, because that's the only way to make progress. We can't be trying to get even. We have to try to get ahead. And the best way to get ahead is to shake hands with each other, team up with each other, buddy up with somebody, and say nice things to each other. You say nice things and people become those things. If you say dumb things, mean things, they'll become those things also. So now, as I ask you again, going into this next segment, what does it take? What would you do? What kind of offer would you make to Mr. Donald Trump if you thought that he was going to be able to actually do these things? And Mr. Lilly, you pointed out the things that you're talking about, the economic development, the economic commitment that a Donald Trump or a group of capitalists, period, who are looking for something great to invest in, they can simply step up, ask for some great ideas. I've got couple $100 billion that's sitting in banks or sitting somewhere. That's not a bad estimation of money that's not moving that could be used. And if we can inspire people with good ideas, maybe they'll shake that money loose. Maybe Trump isn't the only one that we should be ready to stump for. I don't know. We're going to take a short break. We're going to continue our concern. We're going to talk about the things that will make America better, things that make San Bernardino better. And before we go into this break, there's something that could make your life better if you've got broken dentures. If you've got a denture with a tooth missing. If your denture is bent, doesn't fit quite the way it used to fit. I've been able to talk Mr. Eric Hall, the proprietor of Kingdom Dental Labs, into doing something that'll give us a break here. If you've got a dental issue with your dentures, I want you to give Mr. Kingdom Dental Labs a call, 909-748-7171. That's an easy number to remember, 909-748-7171. He is a dental lab, and he will fix your denture very inexpensively. Normally, it starts at $100. You tell him that you heard it on Empire Talks Back, and for $70, he'll get started on working on your denture. Go to your dentist and have your dentist tell you how much it's going to cost to have him send it over to Eric for you. It'll cost a minimum of $200 for them to get involved. So give Eric Hall a call, 748-7171, area code 909, and give him a chance to work for you. I believe you will be very, very happy. You'll end up stumping for Eric. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. We'll be back right after this short break.
Did you know Cover California can help you find a low-cost quality health care plan that's absolutely right for you and your family? Did you know there's coverage for unexpected emergencies and everyday aches and pains? Did you know free preventative care like blood pressure and cholesterol screenings are also provided to stop small problems from getting bigger? Well, now you know.
Covered California. It's more than just health care. It's life care. Visit CoveredCA.com to find free, local, in-person help or enroll online by December 15th to have coverage by January 1st.
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call West Side Story newspaper, 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
You're listening to KCAA, your good neighbor along the way.
We have a couple of college students that said, we'll stump for Trump if he'll pay our tuition, our books, our gas, our this, that, and the other. But what they're saying is invest in me and I'll make us all free. Not a bad idea, not a bad thought. Mr. Lilly, as we look at the issue with the immigrants, the people that are, these are talented folks. They're just, some of these people have put money up to escape the mayhem in their home countries. Much like we have people who, south of the border, put money up to get the opportunity to get in a better life position. When we assess the potential of these people, if I had a lot of money and I was looking at a group of people who wanted to maintain their cultural aspects and simply move themselves out of danger, move themselves out of political oppression, it might be a good investment to invest in that community. I've suggested that maybe if we were to be really concerned about immigrants or poor people or any group of folk that we think are not being economically as progressive as they could, we could invest in those people as opposed to trying to help them with charity. Let's create some type of income opportunity for them. They should be able to take some type of government contract or some kind of private contract that's going to give them some potential to lever so that they'd be able to self-generate. Does that make sense to you, Mr.
Well,
Lilly?
see, Wallace, the thing that you're talking about, here's the thing. Donald Trump is in a unique position among recent candidates. You'd have to go back to probably Ross Perot or somebody like that before you could find something similar. The unique position, number one, is he could split off into a third-party scenario and do very well, be significant, more than a blip on the map. And so he's got leverage within his own party because of that. The second thing is that he doesn't have to wait until he's elected in order to affect things that people want to see happen.
That's right.
And so you're looking at a situation where you can go to Donald Trump, you need something from him, he needs something from you, and it's got to take place before the election. Therefore, the old George Bush adage about campaign promises are made to be broken, which he did utter more than once on the record, those things don't apply anymore. You don't have to worry about a campaign promise. Let's do this, Donald.
Right.
So I just named that one thing when we were talking a little while ago. You mentioned immigrants. One thing you could do with the immigrants is there's something called an L1 visa. I just recently learned about myself. To make a long story short and not be complex about it, it's a type of visa that you can get in order to hire people who are foreign citizens so they can come into the country legally in order to do some sort of work for your company. The only thing about it is that the company has to be considered an international business, which means it has to have at least one office here and one office abroad in another country.
Okay.
Once you meet that qualification, you can hire these workers to come to the United States, do work for you legally, and they can stay here for up to 7 years doing that. And then there's another process by which they can become permanent citizens if they want to do that. Now, if you have the wherewithal and the concentrated capital of a Donald Trump, the same situation that I was speaking about that you could do in order to jumpstart American businesses and all that kind of thing, you could do the very same thing, and it would make sense for your company to do so because, yes, these workers could be the type of workers who would accept lower wages, but you would still have to pay them on an American scale, meaning American minimum wage would apply. You would still have to give them the basic types of benefits and things that American workers enjoy, so they couldn't really be exploited any more than anyone else. And it makes sense for you because you could pay them as, the lower end of the acceptable legal spectrum of wages. But you would have eager workers who would have an incentive to do right, an incentive to be ultra productive in order to stay here on a permanent basis. And you would score huge points with all the people that think that you hate those brothers and sisters that exist south of our borders.
That's right.
That we call Latinos and Latinas. That would be something that could be done right now with the power that he has right now. Nothing else needed. Just get these workers signed up on L1 visas, have them working for you in your factories, building and producing the items that you've lent your brand name to, and selling and making those things here in America to benefit American people and benefit the American tax base. All this stuff could be demonstrated, even on a pilot project level now.
And quite frankly, whether he or any group of people who wanted to take advantage of the same scenario we're describing, because it's simple investment. You know, we're using Donald Trump as the excuse to discuss what is good for America, regardless of who provides it. Economics, well, it's economics, stupid. It's the economy. Making people have the ability to have a decent life quality is important. But the same solution that we're talking about for getting people to stump for Trump is the same thing that would help deal with the immigrants. It's the same thing that would reduce some of the tensions in our cities that have our police so afraid because they know how upside down the treatment has been for young black men that the police walk around afraid, so afraid that even when a black youngster walks away from them, they are so afraid that they need to shoot him. They did it in Long Beach again last night. The man walking away, they said he had a gun, you know, all of that stuff. So the issue still is, what do we do to make people trust each other enough to take that money? I mean, if you're a billionaire and you've got all that money sitting around, some of it is working, but most of it's sitting. Invest it. Invest it in people. Invest it in the type of production that people can participate in. You want us to buy stuff, you got to give us a job so we can afford it. How can people go buy and be good consumers if they don't have jobs? That's just a circle. Okay, so we make an excuse. We say, vote for Trump. What does it take to make you vote for Trump? What does it take to make rich people, billionaires? Now, Mr. Trump has come out and demonstrated his
leverage, Wallace. Well, it takes leverage.
And I'm thinking it takes some convincing. It takes some loosening up somewhere. Now, Trump has bragged that, I can get my buddies to come put up some money and we can, and I'm thinking that makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Go get your buddies. Meet me at Stones and Chins, and we can sit down and work something out. Or Molly's. I mean, I'll meet Trump where he wants to be met. I think I could put a little money together if he said, meet me in New York. I could probably get a little collection and go meet him. But the point is, what are we going to do? We're going to try to do something that's beneficial for each other. And I know that in order for me to sleep well, I can't just feed Wallace. I've got to feed friends and family and associates and make folks feel that we're making a contribution. Otherwise, you generate the haters. And I can understand it because I'm not affectionate to people who are simply trying to do for themselves and not feed the rest of us. So why would I expect people to cheer just because Wallace made a little money and you didn't? So we all have to, realize that we're in this boat together, and there's enough space on the oar for us all to put our hands and row. But we have to figure out the things to do.
You know as well as I know that power concedes nothing without a demand. You can't just rely on the benevolent spirit of people who have enough material resource to insulate themselves from the realities that the rest of us face.
That's true.
You have to have some leverage point. You've got to have something that they need from you with urgency so that the solution can be brought with immediacy. You have to get to a point where the people that have the capital are compelled to act without delay on what you're trying to bring about. You can call it a demand, but you don't necessarily have to demand it in a belligerent way.
Mm-hmm.
You have to say, look, I know you need this from me and there's a time constraint on when you need me to deliver something to you. Therefore, I have a time constraint on when I need you to deliver something that I am going to benefit from. That's what you have with Donald Trump that you don't have with just the run-of-the-mill Warren Buffett. I mean, none of them are run-of-the-mill, of course, but you know what I'm saying? Your garden variety billionaire. You don't have that type of leverage with them because they're going to make their money and get what they want irrespective of any kind of time constraint.
Even though
Donald Trump needs your votes in the primaries and then needs your votes in the general election.
Right.
So there's a time constraint, and you've got leverage there.
So with his primary, he's making enough moves that if he were to win the candidacy, he will have put enough heat on himself that he needs to do something with people that were not in that Republican core. So I understand, and you're absolutely right about that point of leverage. Mr. Buffett and several other billionaires have said that they want to give away their money, and they're having a problem giving away their money. I don't know if it's because they want to give it to a situation that's not going to generate more money and become self-sustaining. I'm not sure. But I'd like to have a meeting with them too. Man, if anybody can get them to join us on the radio, even a call in, I tell you, I'll show you how to make a deal real quick. Real quick. I don't know exactly how it would work on their side, but I'm giving up everything over here. As a matter of fact, I'm giving up a little of your skin, Jamal, a little of Joe's, and everybody here in the studio, if I can make a deal that's going to help us make the kind of contribution to the planet that we know we can make. We're going to take a short break. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. When we come back, we're going to continue our effort to solve the problems of the world and to do it in a way that makes you smile and grin and want to get in. We'll be right back.
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call West Side Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
Kcaa.
Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen, on the case for truth and justice with the right information to help improve the situation. Lakeside will be performing in the city of San Bernardino on New Year's Eve. If you would like to participate and be at that show, give Miss Lynn a call at 909-258-0254. That's 909-258-0254. Join Lakeside in the city of San Bernardino for New Year's Eve. They'll be performing at 1073 North Mount Vernon. It's going to be a fantastic journey. You want to get there. Ow. Fantastic journey. All right. Yeah, boy, it's been a fantastic journey in the city of Chicago. About a year ago, officer decided that a young man walking away from him was disrespectful or whatever, and he shot him a couple of times and probably killed him with the first 2 or 3 shots, and then pumped another 12, 13 shots in him. Kid's name was Laquan McDonald. There was some video, a couple of videos of the deal. One of them was taken from a Walgreens store across the street. Police went in and did their job to see how good that video was, and somehow, as they were looking at it, the doggone thing got deleted. Man, terrible thing. But there was still another one. another video. It was a dash camera that caught a pretty good view or two of what happened. But it was so accurate that we don't know exactly who the people were, but they were so interested in it. They just had to watch it every day for a year, and they couldn't make it available for anybody else to see. I'm sure that's what it was. But there was a journalist who wanted to see that video because they had been doing some investigation, and in their investigation they actually read a coroner's report where the coroner had indicated that, contrary to the police report, which had said that the young man was killed by a shot to the chest, the coroner's report suggested that there was more than that to it. The coroner's report said multiple gunshots. Well, this journalist, wanting to be sure that they impressed their high school journalism teacher, did the right thing and wanted to investigate more. So they called and said, hey, can we see the video so I can see why, what's up with the multiple gunshots? They told him no. So he did what a good journalist would do that has a powerful newspaper behind him. They went to court and got what is known as a decision by the judge for public information, and the judge ordered that the video be released. Once that order for the video to be released was made and people knew that the video was going to be available for the public to see, all of a sudden the policeman who had been still working after he shot Laquan McDonald 16 times, he's still working. All of a sudden he was not only taken off work, he was arrested and charged. Seems like the potential of seeing this video woke up some people, like the DA there, the prosecutor. Well, I'm going to get up off my sarcasm and folks point out that this video is very incriminating. It was so incriminating that the mayor of the city decided to fire the police chief. And when he did it with as kind of words as he could. I guess he didn't want the chief to get real ticked off and point out that, Ron, you and I have been watching this video together. You could have, if you wanted to, made it available months ago, a year ago. But I'm going to bite the bullet, so I don't know. We probably look close enough, we'll find that the police chief got the normal parachute, and I bet he probably got a little extra change somewhere from some folks who didn't want him to throw them under the bus like he was being thrown under the bus. So now we've got people in the city of Chicago not only upset about that shooting, but they want their mayor, Ron Emanuel, to resign. Do you believe that he didn't know about the video? I mean, I obviously don't. But, I've been wrong before, and all of you know that I'll say things sometimes simply to get you to say something. So let me ask this. Mitchell Young, do you think that the mayor of Chicago innocently, do you think he knew about the video before he released it? Mr. Young?
You're asking?
No, I've got a couple people in the studio. I'm just asking. Mr. Young, do you believe it? He can't talk loud enough for you to hear him, but he sounds like he is. Do you believe it? Yes or no? You believe that he knew about it? Okay, Mr. Tafase, do you believe that the mayor knew about it?
I believe he had to know about it.
You think he had because he was the mayor. Miss Naomi, do you think that the mayor of Chicago was aware of that video before it was released?
Yes, most definitely.
How about in the studio, Mr. Joe, our engineer? Do you think that the mayor of Chicago was aware of the video before he released it? He's saying he's not sure if what he should think. Okay, because he's got the mood master in there. The mood master might poke him with the guitar. What does the mood master think? He's got his earphones on. He didn't hear me. So, okay, we had 5 votes. 3 said yeah, 1 said I don't know, and the other one ignored me. So
no, Wallace, the phone cut off.
Okay, so now I'm going to ask you, Mr. Lilly. Do you think that Mayor Emanuel was aware of that video before he released it, or do you think he just saw it the same day that the rest of the public saw it?
Absolutely, he was aware of it. Rahm Emanuel is one of the slipperiest snake in the grass type of politicians you'd ever want to meet.
He's a good politician, right?
Of course.
Because you made the snake in the grass thing sound like, hey, you know, being able to crawl on your belly wasn't one of the prerequisites of being a good politician. But anyway, I shouldn't be so mean all the time. I apologize. I was going to be nice today. I apologize. Mayor, you apologize for the video. I apologize for accusing you of being a really good snake, just an average one. Okay.
Even if he didn't know, Wallace, ahead of time, just to add this 10 seconds or less, even if he didn't know, it happened on his watch, not the police chief's watch.
Right.
And there were rumblings that he ignored for a long time. He should have been more vigorous about investigating so that he would have known. He's supposed to know. Right. And he didn't. That's even more of an excuse to get rid of him, or a reason, not an excuse to get rid of him.
Boy, you took those words right out of my mouth. I appreciate that. They weren't tasting that good. They've been there a long time. He needs to straighten up. And, you know, to become a little bit more like the mayor of San Bernardino, a man who's humble, who's humbled by the things that have gone on in the city, but a man who's also got courage to stand up and face those things and attempt to straighten them out. He's opening his heart for contributions from people throughout the city, throughout the area. What do we need to do to make San Bernardino a better place? And I appreciate that from him. And also because I have made myself very well, let's say I've kicked the San Bernardino Police Department many times because I thought they were in position to do that because of the way they've treated people. But I have to say that I'm very proud of the way they were able to act and respond to the idiot shooting that took place, the terrorism. They stood up, and I'll say our police chief has held himself in very strong account with dealing with the newspapers and press conferences and things of that sort. I'm proud of them. I'm proud of them like I know that they can do great things, and I expect them to do great things, and among those things is to respect the people that they are hired to work for in the city of San Bernardino. And I would appreciate if some of those brave men and women who work for the city in terms of our police force, I wish some of them would move into town. It would make the city feel more secure. We like you. We would like for you to like us enough to not only work here, but live here. But if you can't do both, then do a good job of working here while you're here. And the standard that you set as a result of the shooting of last week is a good one, and we do appreciate you for that. As we look forward here, I want to again point out that Martin Luther King's birthday will be on the 15th of January. There will be a breakfast. The big Martin Luther King breakfast will take place this year at San Bernardino State University, San Bernardino State College, at the Kcaa. Did I say that right? Kcaa Auditorium, Gymnasium. So plan for that. I'd like to point out that we are in what I'll call the cultural curve for the African American community. We have one of our greatest heroes, a black man, celebrating his birthday on December 25th. Then Kwanzaa. Then we've got Martin Luther King in January, and Black History Month in February, and then Women's History Month in March. So December, January, February, and March, times to demonstrate the great spiritual contributions that African Americans have made. Hopefully everybody can lay their head on the pillow with good thoughts about themselves and the rest of the community. And I'm just saying, folks, take a little more pride in this holiday season. It starts in December, and for the African American community moves all the way into March. And so we ask you to join us. Be kind to yourselves, be kind to everyone else, respect yourselves, respect everybody else, and let's bring terror to the terrorists by smiling and hugging and in general being nice to each other. Folks, we have, Jamal, the people who were murdered obviously we know to feel bad for them and sympathy for them and their families. The people that were wounded, we need to know that we need to be empathetic and sympathetic to them. And the people who witnessed it also are in a position of trauma. And all of us have access to the trauma, and we also have access to the solving of the bad feelings that come from the trauma. Be kind to each other, folks. You don't have to know someone in order to smile at them. I'll bet you, if you're one of those people that when you smile and speak to a stranger, your kids say, "Well, who was that?" That means you're not doing enough smiling and enough speaking to strangers, because your kids should know that it's good to smile and speak to strangers. And you don't have to know who it is. You simply have to know that if they're here on the planet with you, they're some of God's people, and they should be respected and appreciated. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. I appreciate you very much. Jamal, thanks for your call in. Mood Master. People talk about you quite a bit, and it's always kind words about how you set us up. I know you're laughing because you know yourself, and you wonder how could we have such wonderful feelings about you when you know all of the bad things about yourself. Well, that's the way we all are. We all know the bad things about ourselves, but that smile from somebody else makes us feel better, and your music makes us feel better. So thank you, Mr. Mood Master, and to all you listeners, we appreciate you very much. We'll see you next week under two circumstances. One, if the good Lord's willing. Two, if the creek don't rise. Remember, Empire Talks Back is brought to you by Covered California, not just health care, but life care. We'll see you next week. Thank you.
There's been so many things that held us down, but now it seems like things are finally coming around. I know we've got a long way to go, where we'll end up.
This is 1050 AM KCAA Loma Linda and 106.5 FM Yucaipa.
Your NBC Sports Radio update starts now.
Let's go to the NFL scoreboard on this busy Sunday. The Eagles are leading the Bills 14-7 in that one. Second quarter, 10:38 to go until halftime. In case you're wondering, Shady McCoy, 7 carries, 32 yards in that contest. Sam Bradford has a touchdown pass in that one. Darren Sproles also has the touchdown run in that one for Philadelphia. Johnny Manziel and the Cleveland Browns are out in front of the San Francisco 49ers midway through the second. 10-0 Cleveland. Isaiah Crowell took it in there. No score between the Lions and the St. Louis Rams. 5:55 to go until halftime. 0-0. Saints lead the Buccaneers by a score of 14-7. That is in the second quarter with 8:04 to go until halftime. Other scores, Jets lead the Titans 13-0. That's in the second quarter. 8:48 to go until the break there. The Colts have 2 field goals. The Jags have 1.